I'm going to show you how to do combined knitting. Combined knitting, the advantage of it is that on the purl side, when you're doing purling, the purling is much faster than many other purl methods. So some people prefer this for that reason. The disadvantage, at least for most combined knitters, is when they go to follow a Western pattern, a typical pattern, they may get confused because the stitches, because of the way you've purled, during the purling you've wrapped the yarn in the opposite direction around the needle as standard, as is the standard Western method. So it puts on the knit row, the stitches will appear twisted or different from the Western method. The leading edge, instead of being in the front, is in the back of the knitting, the back of on the needle. So to do the knit stitch in combined knitting, you'll insert the right needle down into the back loop of the stitch and pull the yarn up through the stitch and off the needle. So down into the back loop and off the needle. Down, over the yarn, pull it through and off. Down, over, through, and off. Now, there's a couple things that you'll need to know about this method if you use it. The first is that if you are going to do a decrease or increase, they'll be different from standard directions. To follow standard directions, what you can do is slip off the involved stitches. Say we want to do a knit two together, a standard knit two together. Slip off the two stitches and replace them onto the left needle, turning them so that they're oriented in the standard Western way. So the leading edge is now in the front, is now the front loop. See that? Versus the combined knitting way where the leading edge is the back loop. There it is. So reorient the stitches. Now you can do a standard knit two together and have a right slanting decrease. That's a good way to get a right slanting decrease. For a left slanting decrease, you can reorient the stitches and follow standard directions like slip slip knit or slip knit pass. Or you can do a quick trick with combined knitting for a left slanting decrease, is to just insert the right needle into the back loops of the next two stitches and knit two together from this position. Oops, I'll do that again. And that will give you a left slanting decrease if you knit it the combined way. Another thing to know about combined knitting is if you do circular knitting the combined way, because you never turned the work and did your unusual purl method to twist these loops, you're just doing the knitting to untwist them. When you come around full circle, you'll find that on the next row of knitting, those stitches won't be twisted as you're used to. So to keep them twisted, if you want to keep them familiar, rather than going over the yarn to bring it through, you're going to go under the yarn and bring it through. And that will keep that's how you knit on circular knitting, to keep it the combined knitting orientation. Let me also demonstrate quickly left hand or right-handed, or I guess English style Continental, or I'm sorry, English style combined knitting, where you've got the yarn in your right hand. So for the regular knit stitch, you'll come down into the stitch and wrap it like so. For circular knitting, you'll wrap it the other way. So the normal wrap will be counterclockwise. The circular knitting wrap will be clockwise. That's the basics of combined knitting.